Hi, and welcome to this quick tutorial for the Bill Calendar Spreadsheet. In this video, I'll walk you through how to set up the spreadsheet, how to enter your bills, and how the calendar automatically generates all your recurring payments. In this video, I will be using the Google Sheets version, but the Excel version works in the same way. Before we start, it's important to know some cells contain formulas that are essential for the spreadsheet to function. These cells are protected to prevent accidental edits. If you try to edit a protected cell, you'll see a warning message. Whenever you see this message, click Cancel to avoid breaking the formulas. It's best to leave these cells as they are. But if you really need to remove protection, you can do it as follows. In Google Sheets, go to Data and click Protect Sheets and Ranges, select the sheet, and click the trash can icon. In Excel, go to Review and click Unprotect Sheet. The spreadsheet contains 6 sheets, and I will take you through all of them. The very first sheet you see here is the README sheet. It contains a very brief version of instructions, so you can easily refer back to them when needed. When filling out the spreadsheet, we're going to start in the Calendar 1 sheet, where we will set some basics. Here you can choose the month, the year, whether your week starts on Monday or Sunday, and your currency. Simply select it in the drop-down menu, and the currency symbol updates automatically throughout the entire spreadsheet. Now, we are heading over to the Input and Customization sheet. This sheet has 2 parts, the customization part here on the right-hand side of the screen, and the input part of the left-hand side of the screen. Under Customization, you can rename your bill categories to fit your needs. These categories are also used in the Year Overview sheet. The input part is where you enter your bill data. It is important to note that this spreadsheet is meant for regularly recurring bills with fixed amounts, such as your rent or gym membership, but not irregular expenses such as groceries. For each bill, fill in the name, select the category and frequency from the drop-down menu, and enter the amount and start date. When double-clicking in the date cells, it will open a date picker in Google Sheets. Excel doesn't have this functionality. To Excel users will need to type the date. The end date column is an optional field that you can fill if your recurring bill stops at a point in the near future. If you don't enter an end date, the bill will continue to recur in the generated list, which we will see in a second. Some fields are required for the spreadsheet to work correctly. If you leave out required information, the row will turn red, so you can easily spot that something is missing. The spreadsheet also uses data validation to ensure everything is entered correctly. For example, the amount column must contain a number, and the date column must contain a valid date. If something is entered incorrectly, you'll see a notification. Let's enter all the transactions. Now we're going to head over to the Payments Overview sheet. In Payments Overview, you'll see all recurring payments generated from your input. It generates up to 2 years of recurring payments based on the year you select in Calendar 1. For example, if you choose 20 to 26, the spreadsheet will generate payments from January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2027. In this sheet, you can make one-off changes to a specific payment by adjusting the amount or the date. Say that, for example, your gym bill is higher this month because you participated in a special event. You can adjust it in the column called Change Amount. Similarly, you can do this for the date as well with the column Change Date. This will then be reflected on the calendar sheet. This sheet is also where you mark your bills as paid. You can do this by clicking the checkbox. For the Excel users, this looks slightly different, as you have a drop-down menu where you can select a check mark to mark your bills as paid. Another feature that this sheet has is that you can filter your payments by payment status, name, and month. Again, for the Excel users, it looks slightly different, as these slicers are not present, but instead you have filters on top of the columns that you can use. One important thing to note here is that the paid status of a bill is tied to the row and not to the bill itself. Let me explain to you what that means. You see that the recurring bills are listed in chronological order. If you had already marked some of your bills as paid, but then decide to add a new bill here in your input sheet, with a start date in the past, it will change the order of the recurring payments here. You see that now the checkbox is next to the new bill instead of the old bill. To avoid this from happening, I would highly recommend adding all your recurring bills at once when setting up the spreadsheet. If you need to add a new bill later, then give it a start date later than your already paid bills. Everything you update in this sheet automatically flows into Calendar 1 and 2, which is what we are going to look at now. Now that we have added the bills in the other sheet, the calendar gives you a clear overview of all your bills. You can see that paid bills appear in gray with a check mark, and unpaid bills appear in black. It's important to note that each day can show up to 7 bills. If there are more than 7, the 7th bill is highlighted in red as a warning. You can resolve this by changing the date for the bills that do not fit on the calendar anymore by making them a day early. This way you will still pay them on time. Another feature that the calendar has is that you can add your paydays. These days will then appear in dark gray on the calendar. And as a final feature, there is a small section towards the bottom of the calendar where you can see the amount that has been paid for that month versus the amount that is still to be paid for the month. Now you may have noticed that there are 2 calendar sheets. As you can see, Calendar 2 is identical to Calendar 1. This way, it lets you view a second month side by side without changing your month dropdowns. This is especially useful when you get to the end of the month and already want to look at the next month. It is possible to create extra copies of the calendar sheets if you wish. You can simply duplicate the calendar sheet by right-clicking on the tab and clicking Duplicate. When using the Excel version, right-click the tab, click Move or Copy, check Create a Copy, and click OK. If you don't want to use the extra copies anymore, you can delete or hide them by right-clicking on the sheet and clicking either Hide or Delete. Keep in mind to not delete the original Calendar 1 sheet, as some formulas are linked to this sheet and will break when it is deleted. The last sheet that we haven't discussed yet is the Year Overview sheet. This sheet automatically summarizes your bills by month and category. In the top left corner, select the year and starting month from the drop-down menu, and you will see that the sheet updates automatically. This overview will help you understand your spending habits and identify opportunities to optimize your budget. And that's the full walkthrough of the Bill Calendar Spreadsheet. I hope this tutorial helps you get started quickly and confidently. If you have any questions or need help, feel free to message me on Etsy. I'm always happy to assist.